Hi, my name is Mike and I'm a drum kit tutor for Surrey Arts. In this video I'm going to show you how to use your own body as a drum kit to create a groove inspired by some of those drum beats that you might hear on your favourite rock and pop kind of records. So without further ado, let's take a look at what you're going to need before we get started into this video. So the first thing we're going to need is to assign a body sound to each part of the drum set. The first sound we're going to assign is to our chest, and that is going to be our bass drum. To achieve a bass drum sound, we're going to take our right hand and with the palm of our hand straight into the middle part of your breastplate, part of your chest, and that should give you a nice low-pitched bass drum sound. The second part is we're going to look for a snare drum sound, and there's no better snare drum sound than a nice clap. The next sound we're going to try and create is our hi-hat sound, and to do that I want to try and click in not just my one hand but both hands. If we can get both hands clicking, it fills out a little bit more of the space. Don't worry if you just have the one hand clicking, we can still create a really good sounding groove. If you can't click at all, it doesn't matter, we can still make a great sounding groove with the snare drum and the bass drum. Once you're happy with everything you need, let's get started into making a groove. The first part we're going to take is our bass drum, right hand into the part of our chest. And we're going to give ourselves a count of 4. Just to give us a bit of musical jargon here, there are 4 beats in a bar and we're going to play 1 bar of groove in a repeated cycle. So we're going to take this pattern right here. Our bass drum is going to play on the beats of 1 and 3. So I'll just demonstrate that for you right now. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, but only play our bass drum when we count 1 and 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to take that pattern and we're going to repeat it 4 times. That means we're going to play that bar, that 1 bar phrase, for 4 bars in duration. Here it comes. I'm going to give us a count in as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next step, we're going to put in our snare drum on the beats of 2 and 4. Our snare drum, of course, being at this point a nice solid clap. So what we're going to do, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's our basic pattern. Like before, we're going to repeat that for 4 times around. So I'm going to verbally count as I go so I know exactly where I am at all times. Here we go. Let's see if we can make it together. Here's a count in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next step, we're going to introduce some spacing on our hi-hat. So we've got a lot of space between those beats of 1, 2. So we're going to change our count. We're going to change it to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's going to be replaced with a nice click. Well, I tend to do this in my left hand, but if you want to do it in your right hand, it doesn't make any difference at all. So what we're going to try and do is going to go bass, click, snare, click, or chest, click, clap, click, chest, click, clap, click. Again, we're going to try and do this over a 4 bar phrase. Let's see if we can make that work. Here comes our count in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Hopefully you're nice and comfortable with that groove pattern already and are already making a great sound with it. Yeah, kind of a disco, groovy, rock kind of thing going on there. Let's get into a bit more of an interesting pattern though. We're going to play a bass drum not only on the beat, we're going to play one off the beat. the offbeat being the ands that we were counting earlier on. So we're going to change our bass drum pattern from 1, 2, 3, 4 to this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 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 So the bass drum has moved off the beat of 3 back, 1 quaver, some more musical jargon there, onto the offbeat, the and of 3. Once you're comfortable with that idea of counting where that bass drum lands, let's put the snare drums in there on 2 and 4 as before, like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll show you that one more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The important thing is to count that space. It's very easy. If you're not counting, you go 1, 2, and 4, and rush it forward. The beauty and the music of these grooves lies with the space and where we place the notes. So it's very important to make sure that we count that open, rested space area. So I'll show you that one more time. See if you can play with me. 4 bars, here comes your count. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 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 Once you're happy with that pattern and you're happy to place the snare drum and the bass drum together, keeping that lovely space open in that rest, we're going to add in the hi-hat. Now before we had all the hi-hats playing on the and. Well, we can't play the and on that bass drum. I suppose we could play like that. But we're playing what I like to call a linear pattern, and that basically means that there is only one voicing being played at a time. So when I'm playing my bass drum, I'm not going to play my hi-hat, my click. When I'm playing my chest, I'm not going to click at the same time. I've got enough to think about as it is with that bass drum and playing by itself without having to layer up anything on top. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave that space open like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that. So that gap is still going to be there. We're not going to click on it just yet. So every hi-hat is still on the offbeat except for that bass drum note. I'll show you that one more time a little bit slower. Here it comes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That may take a couple of goes. So here's the repeated 4 bars. We're going to take it much, much slower. Here we go. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. What we're now going to do is play a click on that rest of 3. So what's going to happen is, in my mind, when I'm playing on that and of 2, I'm clicking with my left hand, which means the beat of 3, I'm going to click with my right. So I'm going to click left, right, like that. To go from the clap, 2 and 3. Snare, hats, hats. Let's show you that in that bar up to that point. It will go bass and snare and 3. Click, click. Here it comes again. Chest, click, clap, click, click. So the last part of the bar, we're going to start with the click, click. It's going to go click, click, chest, clap, click. I'll do that with the count. And 3, and 4, and. So the whole bar will sound like this. 1, and 2, and 3. Getting busy, it's getting busy. Let's try it with a 4-bar loop, see if we can put that all together. Take it nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and and 3 and 4 and. With a bit of practice on that pattern, we can make a groove that sounds really cool. It sounds a bit like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. For anyone who's struggling with those clicks, not to worry. Here's how we're going to play the exact same groove, but using a thigh slap instead of that click with our hands. So if we took our first groove pattern that we had that sounded like this, chest, click, clap, click, let's just replace that click with a thigh slap, either in the left or the right hand. I prefer my left, but that's just personal preference. Will sound a bit like this. Chest, thigh, clap, thigh, chest, thigh, clap. Let's take it a bit quicker. Here's a count. 3 and 4 and chest, thigh, chest, thigh, chest, thigh, chest, thigh. Now let's apply the same idea of using my thighs instead of using a click to the new groove that we had a moment ago with the bass drum on the and of 3. So you're going to get bass, thigh, clap, thigh, thigh, bass, clap. And again, bass, thigh, clap, thigh, thigh, bass, clap. Okay, so let's try that whole pattern together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's the end of our lesson. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I hope you've taken away something from this, but most importantly, I hope you've enjoyed having a little go at turning your body into a drum set. Stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you soon. Take care.